Listen, I mean, I can't watch Cam Newton play quarterback anymore. I'm not saying Jarrett Stidham is the answer, but good God, I mean, what in the world? I'm trying to, and I'm not, listen, the easy thing would be to bash Cam. That's not what I'm going to do. Cam has played horrendous football. That's just the way it is. He's quite arguably, and well, it's more like quite literally, and the stats bear this out, the worst starting quarterback in football this year. Look at the numbers. They're all ugly. But Cam, that's fine. He's just not playing well. My issue is with Bill Belichick and the reluctance. It's almost this stubbornness, this wall. Like he was asked about this last night. It's got the question. Let me play this for you early. It's got the question. It's about Cam. I mean, again, 4 drives in the red zone, 4 times they stalled. Cam Newton's got 5 touchdowns, 10 picks on the year throwing the football, a little more effective with his feet. But boy, I mean, there were spurts, large chunks of this game where it just looked like the varsity versus the JV. Yeah. And again, Belichick refuses to change. Is Stidham that bad?
I don't think so. I don't think it's about Jarrett Stidham. I don't know if it's. I don't even think it's about Cam Newton. I think it's just Bill Belichick being Bill Belichick, and he wants to win. And I think he thinks that Cam Newton gives him the best chance to win simply because he's a better athlete and he's got more experience. And if they're going to run the football, because they have to run the football because their skill position players just aren't good enough right now. It's anemic, man. And there's some names over there, but nobody that's doing anything. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, what's Jarrett Stidham going to do? I think from our standpoint, it's like, well, let's just at least see. You know what?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I just want to. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I don't care if he's good or bad or whatever. Talking about Jarrett Stidham, I just want to know. I just kind of want to find out. And I'm surprised that Bill Belichick doesn't want to find out, but I know that he doesn't want to put his team in a position where they absolutely can't win if Jarrett Stidham's not ready. And I don't know the answer to that, but clearly Bill Belichick is intimating by his very succinct, Cam's still our starter, that Jarrett Stidham is not ready to be the guy that can help them win.
Well, if he's not ready to be the guy to help them win, if he's not ready to be the guy who can take some meaningful snaps, then Jarrett Stidham shouldn't be on the team at this point.
I don't disagree.
He's not a rookie. No. He's been in the building, knows the playbook, knows McDaniels, has a sense of the NFL.
Yeah, before the Cam thing, he was going to be the starter.
That's the way it was positioned for sure. I've got a theory. I don't know if there's any merit to this, but
go ahead.
Aside from him being stubborn, and aside from what you just espoused, that maybe that really, despite the 5 touchdowns and 10 picks and the consistent sub 200-yard throwing games every week, it's way below 200 yards seemingly. Maybe he truly does represent the best chance for the Pats to win. Maybe. And certainly Belichick has earned that benefit of the doubt. But I almost get the sense at this point, like he's so stubborn and he's so outwardly reluctant to go to the bullpen. I almost feel like he's trying to send a message. I don't know to who exactly, but I think he's trying to not disrespect Cam. All right.
But why? Why not?
As a message to somebody else that could be thinking about playing for the Patriots next year.
Okay.
A quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Jameis Winston, right? If I'm Jameis and I'm sitting there and I'm watching this and I see Cam getting yo-yoed, and a guy who won the MVP, guy who went to the Super Bowl, and by the way, a guy who it looks like his career sadly is almost over. Yeah. I mean, but if I'm Jameis, and you get this yo-yo or you get this quick discard. Listen, he's not that. Cam can't play. He can't. Even if he doesn't verbalize it negatively, but if Cam is benched, there's an element of disrespect to an extent, right?
Yeah.
And it could be interpreted by other quarterbacks around the NFL. They need a quarterback, Nick. It's not going to be Cam Newton, and it's not going to be Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, I'm not going there if this is going to happen to me type of thing.
Just a theory, but it's the only thing that I can think about that's somewhat plausible that explains why they're mad, why he remains married to a guy who is Cam Newton's inept.
Yeah, he
is terrible.
And he's looked pained all year. Throwing the football. Maybe it's just the concepts are new to him and he doesn't fully understand them. I mean, there was a 3rd and I think it was 8 on their first series, and he tried to complete a pass, but he threw it like it was like a 6-yard throw. It's like, what are you doing? Like you're better off running at that point. And I don't think he's understanding what this offense is, especially the throwing side of it. If they're lucky enough to get ahead and get a lead, and they can run the ball, then great. But this Patriots team, if they don't have what happened last week, which was basically 3 special teams touchdowns against the Chargers, they don't score. They lack the ability to score.
Yep.
Because Cam, as good as a runner as he is, he's not taking it 60 to the house, right? So it's like you got to get.
He's not even getting 6 when the other team knows what's coming.
Agreed.
That 4th and goal inside the 5-yard line. That was a pitifully designed play.
Agreed.
He had no chance.
Agreed. Well, you've seen these things. You know what's going to you know what's coming, right? They're not throwing for touchdowns. What has he got? 5?
He's got 5 touchdown passes.
5 touchdown passes on the year, BT. It's week 13.
5.
It's week 13.
That's
so
5.
You know what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
So you know the only thing that they're going to do to score is run Cam Newton. and that's why you get this. I don't know. Defenses aren't stupid. Defensive coordinators aren't stupid. Defensive players aren't stupid. It's like, all right, we got to stop one guy. Key on one guy, period. And that's Cam Newton in the red zone. And once you do that, you shut them down.
Now, let me get on.
And by the way, it's a very good defense, too. It's not like this is just an average defense that the Rams are throwing out there. It's a great defense that they were going up against.
I tweeted last night, and we said this on the show, so it's not like I was watching the game, but it just struck me.
Yeah.
We said this before the game. We said, you better watch out for the Rams, but I tweeted something along the lines of best defensive player in the game, one of the top lockdown corners in football, absolutely great head coach in a blossoming running game. Now that Cam Akers is getting some reps, and Cam Akers is obviously a different kind of wiggle than the other guys. That is not a team that I would want to see early in the playoffs.
No.
The Rams, to me, represent a whole hell of a lot of problems for a lot of teams in the NFC.
No, I don't disagree.
They're pretty
with
good.
And by the way, Florida State's been putting out some studs from running backs the last couple of years. Dalvin Cook and now Cam Akers. They got some big time players, but I don't think of Florida State as that school right now. But they've got some pretty good running backs in the league right now.
Yeah, listen. Akers has had 2 good games.
True, but he looked great last night.
And he wasn't getting the rock early. He was hurt. It was basically a 3-man rotation.
Yep.
I think you got a glimpse of what the future running game for the Rams looks like for the next couple of years.
That's what they want.
Night.
That's what they want. They want a guy like Cam who's diverse.
Yep.
He's Dalvin Cook. He can catch the ball. He can run to the edges. He's tough enough to run between the tackles as well, as we saw, to the tune of 170 yards. Most of those were edge runs, but still. He's not afraid to go between the tackles. Yeah, I think the Rams want Cam Akers to be the guy. He's just got to stay healthy, which is part of your job and something that a lot of young players, and he's a rookie, they don't know how to do yet. But he'll learn. At least for his sake, you hope he learns.
No, I hear you. And that I know it was only a 2-yard touchdown pass. I'm not sure if you'll see a prettier 2-yard touchdown pass the entire year from Jared Goff to Cooper Kupp by the pylon. Now that window was about as tight as a keyhole. Great job by Kupp holding on to it. Because we're going to get to Kyrie next. I want to at least slip this in here. Otherwise, it's going to evaporate within the day of a busy football Friday. And I got to get on Belichick a little bit here because, there was a graphic on the screen last night, all right? And you talk about the distinction between being a great coach, which he clearly is. He's the greatest NFL coach of all time, versus being a great talent evaluator, all right? And he clearly is not the latter. At least at the wide receiver position. The Pats wide receivers that they've drafted since 2010, all right? They took 1 in 2010. They took 1 in 2012. They took 2 in 2013. They took 1 in 2014. They took 2 in 2016 and 1 in 2018 and also 1 in 2019. That was N'Keal Harry.
Yeah. 9
players. That's 9 wide receivers this decade. 7 are out of the NFL.
Wow.
Out of the NFL. Not on the Pats.
Wow.
Not even on taxi squads.
Wow.
Out. Cutting down Christmas trees, whatever they're doing now, right? One guy is on the Jets, Braxton Berrios, and the other guy, the only guy who's on the team, N'Keal Harry, is disappointing.
Yeah.
They have not, listen, there's no way. Robert Kraft is not saying, hey, Bill, I really think that this is the guy that we should draft. Hey, Bill Belichick is drafting really whomever he wants, right? So we can drop the draft inconsistencies at the doorstep of Bill Belichick entirely, right?
Yeah. No, I think so. I don't know who. I'm trying to think. Do they have a pro personnel person? But what we laud them for has been their acquisition of draft assets, not really their execution of using them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that kind of offsets it.
It does. It really does, because you have all of this positioning. And look, they get some really good role players. I don't want to knock all of them. They have good special teams players. We know this. And every now and then they do a real. Actually, they've done a really great job of drafting defensive backs, including the kids from Rutgers. But but for offensive skill position guys, I think maybe they haven't had to, and so. It's like if you're pushed into a corner where you have to do something great, then if you're great, you'll do it, very well. But with Tom Brady, they haven't had to have great wide receivers because he made them better. And when Tom Brady is now gone and you have at least relative to this scheme, because I don't want to say Cam's an average quarterback. I guess right now he is an average quarterback.
That's actually being really – but he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's not even average. He's horrible.
But he was an MVP, so I don't want to disrespect. You know what I mean?
I got you.
But right now he is very average. And so when you have an average quarterback step into that role with very average wide receivers, you get nothing. And now they're stuck. And they're I don't even know how this gets better. BT, they're
going to be bad for a while.
Yeah, how does next year, unless the guys that opted out this year for COVID on the defensive side come back in and they're the number one defense in football, but I don't see how they score. And in the NFL, if you don't score, I don't care how great your defense is, you're not winning. So it just feels like this is not a short term. We're going to be all right next year situation for the New England Patriots.
They got to get Jameis. I mean, listen, if these reports that Taysom Hill and the Saints are beginning to really thaw on the idea of
him being their future,
Jameis Winston, the Pats were always a possible destination. I don't know, unless you just draft somebody and you wheel and deal on draft night, you do something special and you pop and you draft whether it's Zach Will, whomever you might move up to get. Or just draft in the slot that you're in and you hit it, well, maybe that's the guy. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, there's no way you go to next season with Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham. I mean, so it's either Jameis or listen, the Jets aren't going to trade Sam Darnold there, obviously. But there's a dearth of options. But what they trot out there right now, as Tiki said before, if there's not a special teams pop or some defensive plays, they just can't score. They are tough to watch.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.